we're not ready. We're not. We're waiting for our vice president, our first VP. Oh, okay. Yeah, but he still needs to be. Yeah, we're waiting. We're waiting for Mayor Reed, which is our VP. That. There you go. Yes. Where is it? Huh? We see right there. Says after we what? Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mayor Shawn Patterson Howard. I'm the mayor of the city of Mount Vernon, New York, and I have the proud pleasure of serving as the mayor of the African American Mayors Association. So welcome to our 10th annual conference here in the city of Atlanta. We are celebrating our legacy, we are celebrating our work, and we are focusing on the partnerships that we have created and will continue to create as we work to move our cities forward, especially focusing on equity. Today we have a few speakers that will be going, and we have our Mayor Reed, Steve Reed from Montgomery, Alabama, and he will be speaking about the AMA Business Council collaboration. We have our Mayor Wayne Messam from Miramar, Florida, and he will be speaking about creating Black generational wealth. And we will also have Frank Scott, Mayor Frank Scott from Little Rock, Arkansas, who will be giving us some closing remarks. But we are here in Atlanta celebrating the 10th anniversary of the African American Mayors Association. And while the African American Mayors Association has been in existence for 10 years, we really came to Atlanta because we are celebrating the 50th year of Mayor Maynard Jackson being mayor of Atlanta. And he was just such a groundbreaking leader. He wasn't the first Black mayor, but he was the first Black mayor of a large southern city. And he served with such dignity and pride. He was innovative. And Atlanta is who it is today because of his economic development vision and his unapologetic and very forward-thinking leadership style. So this week, we'll be speaking about so many things. We'll be focusing on technology in our communities, building Black generational wealth, ensuring that our communities are prepared for climate resiliency and climate change and sustainability. We're focusing on public safety, food insecurity, public-private partnerships, so many of the issues that we are driving in our communities. While 50 years ago, we may not have had many Black mayors, now we have over 500 Black mayors across the United States, representing over 25 million of our constituents in the cities that we serve. We have mayors of cities both large and small, from probably as small as about 600 to over 8 million residents in our cities. And so Black mayors are at the forefront of so many of the conversations in America. We are critical to the economic vibrancy, to the building of equity, and to the partnerships that America needs to be a world player. So this week, Black mayors, past and present, are going to convene to celebrate our legacy. We will have some of our founding mayors here in Atlanta. We are really excited about their presence because you can't move into the future until you understand the history of the past and the foundation that's been laid. We have a busy week of events. I'm just going to share with a few things with you. We have policy tracks focusing on broadband and infrastructure, technology, innovation, health and education, economic development, sustainability, and climate change. We'll be joined by so many of our mayors who will be featured as speakers, but we also have some of our partners from Washington coming, like Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, who is the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Secretary Pete Buttigieg of the U.S. Department of Transportation, Acting Secretary Julie Liu with the U.S. Department of Labor, Administrator Isabel Casillas Guzman of the U.S. Small Business Administration, California Senator LaFonza Butler. We have also from HUD our Kim McLean, Undersecretary Kim McLean, or Assistant Secretary Kim McLean. We're also going to have our Legacy Awards, where we'll focus on Damon John, founder and CEO of FUBU, For Us, By Us, star of ABC's Shark Tank and CEO of the Shark Group. Congressman Stephen Horsford will be here. We will also be convening a community town hall at Morehouse College at their Martin Luther King International Chapel with 2 panels focusing on social policy, justice, and America, featuring Mayor Justin Bibb, Mayor Eric Simmons, and Mayor Andre Dickens, as well as a panel on democracy and civil engagement with our Mayor Brandon Johnson, Mayor Deanna Holiday Ingram, Amber Reynolds, Representative Vernon Jones, Mayor Corey Woods, and of course, our Vice President Steve Reed. And so we are looking forward to a very busy, very impactful, and transformational 3 days here in the city of Atlanta. And with that being said, I'm going to turn over the mic to our first Vice President, Mayor Steve Reed of Montgomery, Alabama. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Stephen Reed, proud to serve as first Vice President of African American Mayors Association, and certainly as the Mayor of Montgomery, Alabama. In addition to the policy leaders and government officials speaking at this week's conference, we will also hear from our partners from the Corporate Business Council. Our partnerships allow mayors and corporate representatives to share best practices, to tackle problems, and share research as it relates to policy analysis and things that will help bring solutions to all of our respective communities. With the challenge of our cities and what we face today, it's up to mayors working hand in hand with the private sector and public sector to find solutions that government cannot come up with on its own. So we're happy that our partners on our business council invest in the African American Mayors Association to help us prioritize equity and inclusivity. Our business partners don't just hear what our mayors have to say, they actually listen and invest in relationships, truly taking the time to partner with institutions and organizations like ours. It's about working hand in hand to bring about the type of change that all of our residents want to see across this country, to boost our local economies and create more local jobs and benefits for our residents. These relationships are invaluable as we work to ensure that our communities are invested so our cities and our residents will flourish and have the opportunity that they are looking for to improve their stake in life. And so I want to just say thanks to all of our sponsors for making this conference and for making the work that we do with the African American Mayors Association possible. We are truly grateful for your support. Now at this time, I'll turn it over to Mayor Wayne Messam.
Thank you, Mayor Reed. I'm Mayor Wayne Messam from Miramar, Florida, and I'm honored to serve AMA as our president. One of our other aspects for this year's conference is we are trying to focus on, during this year's conference, we want to boost the equity in Black generational wealth in all of our respective cities. This year, I was proud to have our city in Miramar to be one of the cohort cities to be a recipient of the Economic Mobility Leadership Institute grant that was funded by the Gates Foundation to help with tools to foster greater economic mobility and helping our city and other cities towards financial literacy forums and develop strategies that increase long-term economic mobility. And it was an honor to be able to see families be able to get critical and vital information to help them in their economic pursuits. You know, historically, many of our cities and the mayors that are represented here today, by law and policy, prohibited our grandparents, our great-grandparents from owning homes, from choosing neighborhoods that they wanted to raise their family. They were not afforded the ability to build generational wealth like other communities. So as AMA, being able to have this as a focus for us, we are working to correct generational wrongdoings in our respective cities. Tools like the AMA Emily program does just that. They're instruments that are helping these historic wrongs to be corrected and generate paths to advancement and equity. But during our conference, we will discuss many issues. We just had in our board meeting an update on lawsuits right now that are directly attacking federal 8A programs, our respective MWE programs. So it does not preclude us from ensuring that we are intentional by not only being aware of these attacks. DEI is the new boogeyman, and it is impacting us all. It's like everyone has forgotten that there's still disparity in our communities. So as AMA, we must continue to stay vigilant and focused. It's about making sure that everyone in every zip code has the opportunity to achieve and creating Black generational wealth and attainment that leads to future doctors, engineers, educators, and perhaps even future Black mayors across America. And now at this time, I turn it over to our immediate past president, Mayor Scott.
Thank you to the AMA leadership. We share our appreciation. And in closing, we are all here today, not only as we are here standing united, we're here to reset. We're here to revive our inner why, and we're here to resurrect what we were called to do. And as we reset during this next few days, it helps us understand who we serve, why we were put in these positions, to ensure that we're unapologetically intentional about our residents, about our people. That's why we were called to do what we're doing. And in that resetting, as we share, we got to revive ourselves. And in that revision, we know that times will get weary, times will get hard, and we know there are some ugly days ahead. And that's the reason why we come together to stand in need of one another. Whether it's a time of joy or a time of sorrow, you only know what another mayor knows. Particularly another Black mayor, we truly only know what another mayor knows. But as we resurrect ourselves, we have to think back to why we chose this location for this conference. We chose this location because if you're any kind of mayor, you knew about Maynard Jackson. You knew that he was the first large-scale mayor that any one of us knew. And quite frankly, he was the father of affirmative action. He, along with other civil rights leaders, are the reason why we all stand here today. Many of us first, whether it's first Black elected, first woman elected as a Black woman, we are the first. We stand on those giants, whether it was Maynard in the South, or Marion in the East, or Tom Bradley in the West, or even in the South, a LaToya Cantrell. In the Midwest, a Tashara Jones. And even up north, a Sean Patterson Howard. We all stand united, again, to reset, to revive, to resurrect, to do the will of our people. Mayor Sean Patterson Howard.
Thank you. I mean, and the church said amen. Revive, reset, and resurrect. And so while we are here over these next few days, please take out time in between sessions. in the evenings, early morning, to have the crucial conversations that we need to have, so that when we go home, we are renewed, we have a vision, and we have intentional actions, because having good intentions is no longer enough. We have to be intentional, we have to be strategic, and we have to be unapologetic. And we have to do all of this through public, private, and philanthropic partnerships. And of course, through a lot of prayer. And so with that being said, do we have any questions? Yes.
Hi, I'm Quay Noel Kelch. I'm with Mercury Public Affairs. We handle communications for AMA. We'd ask that you please state your name and your media outlet, and I'll bring the mic over to you.
Oh, thank you. Donnell Suggs, the Atlanta Voice, the only black newspaper in Atlanta. Just want to point that out. Are you going to be discussing anything about homelessness? Because in this city, when you guys get the chance to ride around a little bit, you're going to see a bit of that. So I'd like to see if that's a topic of discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, we're talking about the affordability crisis. We're talking about the housing crisis. Many of our cities are facing that. And also next week, we have quite a few black mayors who will be in Washington, D.C., meeting with HUD, meeting with the Veterans Agency, and meeting with federal officials to discuss that. But we will be discussing the homelessness crisis here. We know that black individuals are disproportionately impacted. We are overrepresented in the homeless population, and so we're not just talking about homelessness, but how we create an ecosystem and build out an ecosystem that deals with mental health, substance abuse, job training, and what we're talking about is economic mobility, building that black wealth, because it's not just for the top percent, but we have to start somewhere. And very rarely did people get there with no reason. And so we have to understand the reasons, the drivers of homelessness, and be prepared to address them collectively. Anyone else?
Hi there. I'm back here, down here. Oh, hold on, let me stand up. My name's Amanda Andrews. I'm with Georgia Public Broadcasting, the radio station. And my question is, you mentioned public safety, and I'm wondering, when you're talking about public safety, is the conversation going to include policing, and kind of what is the conversation on the future of policing as black mayors addressing that in your cities?
We'll be talking about policing, community violence intervention, innovative partnerships in our community, and I'm going to let our Mayor Scott speak some more about it.
I'm actually going to ask Mayor Paul Young and Mayor Stephen Reed to please approach, because we know Mayor Paul Young, where is he at? He just recently led the Southern Black Mayors had a recent session. He'll speak a little to that.
Yeah, Paul Young, Memphis Mayor. Just recently in Memphis, we held the Black Mayors Coalition on Crime. And it was a dialogue that did include policing, but it talked about holistic public safety. And I think that is the conversation that you're going to see this week, is policing is a part of it. But when we talk about public safety, it includes the things that also intervene in those that are headed into a life of crime, and also prevent people from also taking that life on. And so, you know, it's a very inclusive conversation. It's going to be an ongoing dialogue. And we as black mayors, individuals that are leading communities where we know crime is a conversation in black African-American communities. And so it's very important that we as African-American mayors own that dialogue and own that conversation.
Any additional questions?
Well, he definitely covered a part, but you know, oftentimes we talk about the issue of crime, and there is definitely a narrative out there that is being pushed by people that do not want to recognize that in some of our urban cities across the country, we are seeing reversal of crime trends. We are seeing major violence going down. We're seeing homicide going down. But of course, that's not something that is often talked about, because they would have to admit that we are actually doing our job and getting things done. And so with that said, I want to bring up our Mayor, Tashara Jones from St. Louis. Thank you.
Thank you, President Patterson. I'm Tashara Jones, Mayor of the City of St. Louis. And in 3 years since I've been mayor, we brought down homicides by 40%. And we did that, thank you. Our public safety approach rests on 3 tenets: prevention, intervention, and enforcement. We use prevention through our Office of Violence Prevention, partnering with over 30 community organizations who have ground level experience on what is going on in their neighborhoods, because the people closest to the problems are closest to the solutions. We intervene through trusted messengers, also through those organizations, giving people an opportunity to turn away from a life of crime by offering them alternatives. And if those two tenets don't work, then we go to enforcement. And with our enforcement, we are recruiting police. We are not defunding the police. We are recruiting new members to our police forces, but also developing alternative methods of response, because police are not the person to answer every call that comes into our 911 facilities. So we have a Cops and Clinicians program that has saved thousands of man hours and millions of dollars by pairing an officer with a behavioral health professional. We embed behavioral health professionals in our 911 centers so people can get real-time help, and we follow up. And if all of that doesn't work, then obviously we have to enforce by using our criminal justice system. Thank you.
So as you see, there are things that are working, and you know, one of the things that I say is we have to look, there are really 5 pillars: prevention, intervention, diversion, enforcement, and restorative practices. And that's 5. And if we take as much of our funding and our energy in investing in all 5 of those pillars, the enforcement piece will not be such an issue, right? And so we have to make sure that our approaches are balanced and that they're equitable, and that we're partnering with all of the community in doing this. Any other questions? Well, thank you so much for coming. Have a blessed day. Please make sure that you lean in and that you engage as we move forward this week, because again, this is the only place where you're going to see this type of collection of Black mayors speaking about the issues that are critical to our communities. Mayors are leading at the most granular level of government, and while the federal and the state government might implement policies and practices, we are the ones who have to implement them locally. We are the ones who are seeing people in the grocery stores, in the churches, and in the playgrounds. And so we are the ones who are having to do the heavy lift, and we do that lift with love, with compassion, but with critical focus on what is needed for everyone in our community. And so equity is at the center of all that we do, and we look forward to a very, very positive week. Thank you again.